What's up, Run 50 States My Way? It's Ashley and Ryan, and we are here in Mentor, Ohio for another one of the Ohio National Park Service sites where the James A. Garfield house, which ironically I grew up behind and on part of his property my entire life. It's crazy when you have a National Park Service site right in your backyard because you never really come to it. So Ryan wanted to stop. We were visiting my father for Father's Day and gonna get a stamp in our passport. Like, subscribe, and comment down below if you've ever been here because we're excited to finally go inside the house. Tours start in the visitor center. So there's a nice path that takes you behind the house, and that's where the visitor center is, by this old windmill. The Garfield family windmill towered 60 feet above its stone base. The original tower was built in 1894 to overcome problems with an old polluted well, and a gas engine water pump had been installed in 1885. The new tower provided the property with a feature, a common trait of Cleveland area estates. The Garfield windmill pumped water into a 500-barrel holding tank in the windmill's tower. From there, the water was gravity fed into a 300-gallon galvanized holding tank on the third floor of the house. Water then flowed to faucets in the kitchen, bathrooms, and laundry rooms. The windmill also pumped water to other farm locations. By 1939, this system was replaced by Mentor Village water supply. So it's actually really kind of cool when you think about how important for the city this pump was, and really how revolutionary it was for the 1800s. Go Garfield. We are inside the gift shop. We found our sticker, which is for 2018. And knowing that we're also gonna try to hit up Perry's Monument on Put in Bay this summer, we're gonna grab the 2010 sticker while we're here because they do have all of the different years, and we were able to grab that. But while we're at Garfield's house, we are going to get our next stamp.
Do you like anything about James Garfield or anything like my favorite color? Yeah, great question. I love how smart he was. I didn't appreciate very college, but he like was a student, and then his teacher got sick, so the teacher asked him to take over the class. He was very smart, man.
There it is, James A. Garfield National Historic Site.
Awesome.
The visitor center has a very small but nice little gift shop, but most importantly, it has a really nice museum, and that's where we're headed next. And then we're going to do the house tour at 12:30. All of the items here at the James A. Garfield National Historic Site are completely free. You do not need a National Park Service pass or anything like that to enjoy this site. This is the Bible that was used when taking the oath of office on March 4th, 1881. What's unique about President Garfield, not only is he one of the 8 from Ohio, but he's actually the president who was in office the least amount of time. He was only in office for about 3 months before he was assassinated by being shot at the train station. He was shot in the back. So very similar to President Lincoln. As a Civil War era president, he was assassinated. This area here talks all about the Civil War and the turmoil. President Garfield is actually buried here in Cleveland, Ohio at Lakeview Cemetery. There's a really nice monument to him. And these items right here are his top hat, his boots. It looks like Mrs. Garfield's bonnet and shoes. She was really tiny feet. His walking sticks. Her gloves, silver, her little we would call it a purse, but They wouldn't call it purses back then. It was well, they're calling it a crochet purse, a child's crochet purse. Etiquette of the era. Again, more items, another bonnet. This right here is the wire mattress display here was made by President A. Garfield, or for President Garfield, by the Hartford Woven Wire Mattress Company at Hartford, Connecticut. President Garfield was shot on July 2nd, 1881. So again, he was sworn into office March. He was shot July. Bedridden for more than a month, so he did hold on. He didn't die instantly. In the White House by early August. He was understandably eager for a change of scene. His doctors considered an excursion on the steamer Tallapooza, maybe is how you say that, which cruised the Chesapeake Bay and Potomac River. For travel on potentially choppy waters, the bed's woven wire mattress was designed to be flexible and therefore more comfortable for the wounded president. However, the voyage never got underway. As a young man, he had dreamed of becoming a sailor. Decades later, as a president, he wrote in his diary, "I have always felt the ocean was my friend, and the sight of it brings rest and peace." It was to an ocean resort in New Jersey that President Garfield was taken by train in early September, which is kind of illustrated here, and that is where he passed away, in Elberton, New Jersey, on September 19th, 1881. So again, he held on for several months. The bronze mask and casting of his hand. All items of mourning. Letters from Queen Victoria. Condolences to the family. And this right here, well worn and well traveled, this field desk accompanied Colonel and later General James A. Garfield through Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, and Mississippi as he served in the Western Theater of the Civil War. Garfield commanded both a regiment and a brigade and served as a staff officer. So this was his desk. Another copy of his top hat. The assassination. So this plaque here, I'll go ahead and read it to you because you can't really see it. But once he was shot, he, over the several months that he fought his injury, he lost over 65 pounds and suffered constant pain. An endless procession of doctors tried one treatment after another. Their incessant attentions resulted in blood poisoning, leading the assassin to declare, "The doctors killed Garfield. I simply shot him." This is the back of the house. We will show you the front of the house. But I do want to point out that 80% of what is still in the home belonged to the Garfield family. As a result, I was unable to use the video camera inside of the house. If you come to the James A. Garfield Historic Site, please take a tour. It's incredibly informative. It does last for about an hour, but you go throughout pretty much the entire restored house. When the family gave the house and all of its contents to the Western Reserve, it preserved basically everything that was here. So unlike many other historical buildings and historical homes, you have replications, you have reproductions. This house has 80% of the original items. Really the only things that are not here anymore are the textiles, things that wouldn't have survived, although 2 rugs have survived. Really stellar. We are going to put, right after this clip, a series of pictures because we were able to take pictures inside of the house, just no video. So stay tuned for picture clips of the inside of the house. This small house, literally in the garden behind the main house, was used as the campaign office for the president, and still has the library, the desks. That's probably one of the most fascinating thing about this house, is that it still has all of the original books. They were very, very prominent with the importance of education and the importance of and the value of rising above what you don't know. President Garfield was a champion of education. So knowing how many books is inside the house is just makes this even more of a history vessel and time capsule, essentially. The visitor center, which we were in earlier, and that's where the museum is actually the carriage house of the Garfield family. So when the carriages would come up, that's where the carriages would be stored. And where the museum area is where the horse stalls were. So another really fascinating thing about the visitor center, it is an original structure and it is part of the original farm. This path, actually, if we would walk through all of the people's backyards, would take us right to the train tracks, which is where we actually live and where I grew up. And that's how people would come and visit. President Garfield, we learned, and we're gonna go around to the front porch, was the first president to have a front porch campaign. He had thousands of people come here when he was campaigning for office, even delivered a speech to German immigrants, partially in German, because President Garfield was fluent in about 4 languages. Fascinating when you just think about how short of an amount of time he was president and how much of an impact he probably could have had if he had not been assassinated. So we're gonna walk across this part of the house, and what we learned is that when they originally bought the house, this whole back half was not there. That is an addition, along with most of the 2nd and 3rd floor. That was not part of the original house. When the National Park Service restored the home in the 1990s, they painted it gray from its original white that I remember to be the colors of what the final product was when Mrs. Garfield was finished with all of the additions and the add-ons of the house after the president had passed. She lived in this house for an additional 36 years after his death with her children. And you can see, for the time period, it is a beautiful farmhouse and just holds so much history. Again, this plaque here talks about the front porch campaign. Shows the house as I remember it, which is white with black shutters, and all of the people that would come to hear him speak, and really champion himself for his campaign. Again, it's estimated that over 15,000 supporters came here to Mentor, Ohio for the meeting of the president candidate. It's really neat. So with that, Run 50 States My Way, it's Ashley and Ryan. We hope you've enjoyed our little time here in Mentor, Ohio, visiting what literally was the home that I grew up right next door to James A. Garfield's Presidential National Historic Site. Like, subscribe, and comment down below. Thanks for watching, and we're off to our next adventure.